So welcome to our annual general meeting. We did have a in-person one as well, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is the 100th anniversary of WEBA, so we thought that we should, say hi and talk to everybody and make a bit of an event of it. So welcome to our meeting. I wanted to introduce right now the people on the board that are on the call. So I'm going to start. Julie, you want to just everybody, if you can say your name and sort of what you do on the board. I'm just going to go through my Hollywood squares here. So Julie, you're up first.
Okay, I'm the membership coordinator, Julie Hovis.
Colin?
Yeah, I'm a board member at large, I believe.
And our webmaster?
Oh, and our webmaster, that's right.
Cindy?
I'm the secretary, and I'm actually based in Canada.
Okay, Claire?
Hi, everyone. I'm our representative to the North American Banding Council.
And Allison?
Allison Nelson. I'm a member at large.
Awesome. Okay, so those are our board members on board. On tonight's call, there might be more that join us, but anyways, those are who we are that are the board of the WBBA of the Western Bird Banding Association. So we wanted to go through some of our reports today so that we can, instead of having people just read them, we can talk about them, and if there's any questions, we can go through them. Oh, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Danny Kashubi, and I'm the current president of the Western Bird Banding Association. Important things. All right, so we're going to go through the report.
And the treasurer.
And the treasurer. I think that's all I have to do right now, so that's good. Okay, so then speaking of treasurers, I have wanted to talk a little bit about finances. So we're in a good place financially with WEBA. We have about $9,000 in the bank as of yesterday. We had $11,000 in the bank at this time last year, but we had a later meeting and we're starting to collect income from that meeting. So it's not quite, we're about in the same spot. So they're really pretty equal. The extra couple $1,000s is because we're starting to pull in money for the meeting last year and hadn't spent any. So that's where we sit with our bank accounts. We sit with checking and PayPal, about equal amounts in each. This is our budget. Our fiscal year runs from April 1st till March 31st. So this is our budget and our income as of the 31st of March. We are pretty stable in terms of finances. We increased our finances by about $200 last year. We're not pulling in thousands and thousands of dollars, but that's not what our goal is. We want to be able to meet our expenses, provide our grants, provide services to our members, and that's what we're looking for. Looking at the budget for this year, we have a large shortfall. I don't think that it will be a shortfall in the end, but I'm trying to put costs down as I think they might happen, and we'll see how it goes. So, like, for example, the NAB, we expected it to be about $4,000. I don't think it's going to be $4,000. It's going to be more like 27. So there'll be savings there. Meeting costs, we didn't have any. So there's $1,000 that we'll have there. So things like that. So I expect us to be more close to even than it looks, but this is where we sit with the money as it could end up. So we do want to continue with our $1,000 grants. As part of our outgoing money. That's one thing that we're really trying to keep going. Adam is not on the call, so he can't provide me any information about how many grant applications we've had this year, but hopefully we will hear about that soon, and we'll be able to send that out. I think that's my last finances slide. Does anyone have questions about finances? Okay, then I shall move on. And I'm going to pass the baton to Julie for membership. And Julie, I will put the slides up and you just tell me how you want to move through them.
Okay. Well, this is the graph that Cindy made for the report. And it just shows how the different status or the types of memberships that people have had over the years. And I just looked at it, and right now we're at 135 members as of today. And one of the things that has been declining is how many institutional memberships we have. And I'll also say that I'm trying really hard to notify people ahead of time when their membership's going to expire so that they won't lapse in their membership. And when I do that, if they have not already indicated if they'd like to get NAB just electronically, then I remind them that that's a possibility and ask them if they would like to make a choice. And sometimes people answer that and sometimes they don't. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay,
So
you want to talk about this one next, or you want me to go back?
no, I just, Cindy had suggested that we do this for the report, but I was out of town and I couldn't get it together. But I just did this the other day. So we have 29 different states, provinces, or territories that people are living in that belong to the membership. And by far, California has the most members, Arizona, Oregon, and Washington. So I just put that out as something to just kind of, I thought it was interesting. Only one person in Idaho, Danny, that would be you. And we do have several people back east that are in the membership. So that's all I got for that one.
Okay,
And this is where we're at with how many people are choosing to get the journal either by email, hard copy, or both, or no choices. And I will say that even if somebody has an email address, and even if they haven't said what choice they want, I just send the email notice to everybody that when one is available. That way, if they want to get it that way, they can. But those people that are getting it by email notice that haven't made a choice are still going to be getting the hard copy.
Okay.
And the last slide is, these are earlier this year in March, I contacted either by email or snail mail all of our lifetime members that we weren't sure if they were still active in the membership or not. And I heard from quite a few of them, but these are the ones that I'm still trying to figure out if they still are part of the membership or if they're still alive. So I don't know if anybody knows any of these people and could contact them and let me know, I would appreciate it.
go ahead, Allison.
Oh, Julie, I was just gonna, I see Amy Lauterbach is on that list. I know her and have her phone number. I can reach out to her.
Okay. Yeah, and then you could just send me an email and let me know.
Okay.
And if what I'm trying to do is verify that we still have the correct email address. I mean, snail mail address. And
Mhm.
if they have email and didn't indicate it in the past, then I'd like to add that. And I just also want to make sure that they still want to be an active member. So yeah, if you could ask, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else know anybody on this list? Okay. We just really want people to, if, we don't want to send NAB or communications into the trash can on a regular basis. So if someone's interested in being a membership member, we want to make sure they're welcomed and know that, we're thinking of them. But if they don't exist, or we've got the wrong mailing address, we don't want to just send NABs into black holes, because that's where things just get tossed in the trash, which is unfortunate. Okay, any questions about membership for Julie in general? Awesome. Okay. So I am going to talk about North American Bird Bander. Walt, I don't believe is on the call. Nope. He was not feeling well, so he asked me to talk about this. This is something that he would normally talk about, but we have been working with the other banding associations to ensure the future of the North America of now. And that means including providing the journal electronically to make it more accessible and to make the production more cost effective. Printing and mailing is getting expensive, and if we want to continue to give it out as a hard copy, there's a potential that memberships have to go out. But by reducing the number of copies that we mail out, but people still get, then we can reduce the cost, which is great. That'll save everybody money in the long run. And it makes it easier for your people to get it. If they miss a journal or whatever, they can grab it offline, and then everybody has more access to it. So we have been meeting as a committee. There's been somebody from each of the organizations, as well as the editors, meeting once a month for the past 2 years to work on NAB. And the person that has been the editor of the Eastern Association and the production coordinator has been Bob Pantel, and he has been doing this for over 40 years. So yeah, Bob has put in his time, and he is doing an amazing job. But we thought maybe it was time to pass the baton on, and we have a new production manager. She's not the editor of Eastern, but she's our new production manager. Her name is Kelly Hayden, and she's out of Nebraska, I believe. And she's going to take on the coordination and the production of it, so laying up the magazine. So I expect that this next issue will look very much like our past issues as she gets settled and uses the templates, but expect NAB to have a little bit more of a different look in the next future. Might be little, might be a lot. We'll see where she comes with that. Walt also has mentioned that in the past, NAB has had delays because of lack of materials. So anybody who has something to publish would be great. The other associations produce flyaway reports. I don't know how many of you have looked into those, but those, at different stations within their flyways produce a small report, and those are published. Because WEBA doesn't have those, our content level is lower, which is fine. If someone wanted to take on the flyaway reports, those are a lot of work to put together, but if someone was feeling strong about them, we would definitely be able to support that. So anybody who's on the call that wants to take that on, we don't do it, but I think if someone wanted to, we'd be open to that. Also, in terms of your banding data, if you have longevity records, unusual sightings, earliest or latest banding of a migrant, significant returns, really anything, our news and notes section, you don't have to write a full paper if you don't feel comfortable doing that, but we would take material for WEBA that would be of interest, just in general, things that are happening at your stations. Banders have a lot of data. So it would be great for all these birds who we interact with to get things published, just to get it into NAB and share it with other banders. Even if you have a new technique with something, that would be a great thing to work on to get it in there. I think yeah. Does anyone else have questions on NAB or concerns about NAB, or you love that's now online, which I do? Anything like that? Okay, well then I'm going to move on. I see that Jason is now online with us. Jason, we introduced the other members of the board. Would you like to just say hi and say what your role is?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. Sorry I ran in a little bit late, but I am the social media person for Western Bird Banding Association, and trying to put together any social media posts. So I'm always kind of lacking content, but anything that's related to Western birds, any interesting stuff that happens in the West, any Western birds that end up in the East or outside of their normal range is stuff that we're interested in posting. But yeah, I guess I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but yeah, gladly will post anything bird banding related that has to do with Western Bird Banding Association. So particularly longevity records. I just saw that Yannicka at Rocky Point just had a very interesting one that was shared on the Institute of Bird Populations. So I already messaged her, and we're going to do another little side thing afterwards too. So.
Oh, good. Good. I love it when they riff off of each other. So I've posted your email address here. I'm assuming that's the best way to get things to you.
Yes, and please, in the title of it, or just put Western Bird Banding Association in big letters, or content for that, or something that lets me know really that that's what it's about, because fortunately I get a lot of emails that kind of bury it, so that always catches my attention.
I've told people to put fire in the subject line of mine, so that I know that it needs dealing with immediately.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Fire and bird emojis will work, just hopefully not birds that are on fire.
Yeah, that's not good. Not at this time of year. Um, so
Especially, I'm in
the-
Las Vegas right now in the Mojave, and it's so hot. So yeah, don't remind me too much of fire.
Jason's email address is on the line here, but if you lose it and you need to get hold of him, his contact information is also on the website under the board, so you can get hold of him that way. Does anyone have any questions for Jason? Okay. If you think of any ways to drum up more social media, you can send those ideas on to Jason as well. Okay, moving on. So North American Banding Council is our next topic, and Claire, I pass the baton to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. For those of you who don't know, the North American Banding Council is an organization that was founded in, I'm going to reference it, 1998 with the mission to promote sound and ethical banding practices. And one of the great things about that is the North American Banding Council has an ear with the BBO and the BBL and is involved with communicating and developing those processes. So some things that you've probably heard about are the different manuals that exist, certification for those of you who have become a certified trainer or bander or an assistant. So working on sanctioned trainings and workshops. Danny's puts on some of those, for example, certifying people, building those training resources. We also act as a conduit. One of the most recent things we engaged in was some congressional lobbying in regards to support for the bird banding lab. And these most recent months, the WBBA in this last little bit agreed to sign on to a letter of support for the bird banding lab. They meet once yearly in person, and then informally as needed. I want to put a plug to say that there are lots of committees. So despite the fact that they meet once yearly, there are all kinds of committees that need support. So whether you're someone who does waterfowl, raptors, songbirds, hummingbirds, if you're a policy person, if you like fundraising, if you want to help on updating the next manual, we've got a spot for you and we would love to have you. I also want to throw a plug that our next meeting is going to be September. I'm going to mix up my dates, so I have to check. September 6th and 7th. We now, in the last year since COVID, do a hybrid meeting. So if you're able to pop out to Cape May, because all you Western folk, it's easy for you to pop over, or you want to join online, we would love to have you. It's a great time to meet people, talk about ideas. It's a scrappy organization that's really motivated to connect and uplift banding. So I'd love to have you. Any questions?
Yeah. I do. So the meeting, can anybody go, or is it just NAVC certified folks that can go?
That's a big myth. Anybody can go to the meeting, and anyone can, let's see, join certain types of committees. You can't be on the council or certain positions on the council without being certified. But if you're someone who's interested in certification or have questions about it, would be happy to talk about it online, offline. Danny's someone who could also answer those questions. Yeah, or I can connect you with doing that. Or if you're
And
curious
then
about it.
when you have the meeting information, can you send that to Jason, seeing how anybody can go? We might as well post it and invite everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. So I mentioned that this is our online general meeting, but we also try and have a in-person meeting. And so this year, I'm going to see if I have slides. Nope. So we did have an in-person meeting this year as well. The Association of Field Ornithologists asked us to, as Western Bird Banding Association, to run their banding symposium. So as part of that, we did a banding workshop, and then we it'll mediated the banding symposium day that they had as part of the AFO meeting. They had about 116 people at the overall AFO meeting, which is much less than they had wanted. Their attendance was way down. But no federal employees were there. I don't know if there were any state employees there. And then there were one or two Canadians sprinkled in, but really Canadians were not at that meeting as well. So in general, the meeting numbers were way down. There were, I counted them, 5 in-person WBBA members in there. So we did represent. It would have been nice to see more people, but that was an expensive meeting and there were so many factors causing it to be difficult to be there. So I understand why we didn't have a presence, but we're hoping that the next couple of meetings we have big presences so that we can get together and chat, because part of this is seeing your faces and chatting in person. It's what really makes WEBA important and effective as an organization. So the talks that they did have, they were great talks. The poster session was really good. I really enjoyed the plenary speakers. They did a great job in the plenary, just talking about their research, and it was very interesting. The banding workshop, we had, I think 17 people appeared, which was great. To see the 4 birds we had, it was a little hard, but one was a Leslie bunting female, and we had 3 black chin hummingbirds, one adult male, one adult female, and one young. So we got some things there, but we talked about many things. There was lots of things to talk about. So I call it a successful workshop, even though we were not overrun with birds. It's just banding in the West in the middle of summer. Wasn't really surprised at a site I wasn't familiar with. And because these meetings, we can't all travel and do all the traveling we want. We have these virtual meetings. So that's why we wanted to pass on the news this way, because we thought we would be able to reach more people. So, and I don't even know how many are on the call right now, but I'm sure we've doubled our attendance already. So that's great. So this was 2025. And so we want to talk about the 2026 meeting. And so I'm going to pass the baton to Cindy Smith, who's going to tell us all about that.
Okay, thanks, Danny. And I see Jeff Holroyd, who I'll mention, is also on the meeting, so he may want to add a few things. So we've already set the date. So 2026, put it on your calendar, August 27th to September 1st. For the bit of a long title, the 2026 Western Canada Bird Banding Conference with the Western Bird Banding Association and Project OWLNet. For those that don't know, Project OWLNet is predominantly working with the northern saw-whet owls, but maybe Jeff will confirm whether other owl talks will be allowed or encouraged as well. We're going to hold it over those 5 days at Leduc, which is a sort of a satellite city just south of Edmonton, Alberta. So it's close to the international airport. There's free shuttles to the hotel and conference center. It's also cheaper than downtown Edmonton, where Jeff has held previous conferences. And it's also going to be easy to get out to do some field trips and also to visit the Beaver Hill Bird Observatory, which Jeff is director of the observatory and the board. And so what the plan is to have the first 2 days will be fairly general bird banding. We'll have Danny has committed to running an evening workshop on using the WRP, the codes for during maps and migration monitoring. We're looking at maybe another workshop or 2. We're lining up plenary speakers, and then we'll be putting out a call for papers. We're looking at like 15-minute talks through those 2 days with some breaks and maybe some early morning field trips nearby and a few things like that. So we're kind of in the early planning stages. Jeff, I'll invite you to add anything more you would like to at this point. At least I saw somebody called Jeff spelt the same way online.
I did see Jeff. He may have popped his
I
screen
think you're
up
on
there.
mute, Jeff. If you're there, Jeff, you're on mute.
I asked him to unmute, so we'll see. Oh, there he is.
Do you have anything you would like to add, Jeff, to the overall who, what, where, when?
If you're talking, Jeff, we cannot hear you.
Anyway, meanwhile, if there's any questions, we don't have a price yet for that. Jeff has already been lining up and talking to one of the conference centers. So we hope in the next month or so, well, we'll get a save the date out fairly soon, and then after that, we'll try to start to get some idea of costs and so on.
And so the way it's planned is the WEBA will be in the first part, and then we'll have some overlap with OwlNet, and then the OwlNet meeting will happen at the end, correct? Is that how the plan is?
Yeah, so the first 2 days is it's going to be managed by myself or initiated, and banding talks from around Western Canada, Western North America within the WBBA area, which also overlaps with the Western Canada meetings, which have been held roughly every once a decade. Jeff and others have organized that in the past, and then a day of joint field trips, and then OwlNet. People are going to they've got some plenary speakers lined up already, and also there'll be talks about solid owls, nanotags on solid owls, and a variety of other owl related topics. And so everybody would be welcome to register for all of the workshop, or all 5 days, or just for the first 2 days or the last 2 days.
Great. Jeff put something in the chat saying his audio is not working, but he says all the info, so it sounds good at the moment. If there's anything else, Jeff, that we missed, you can type quickly, but I think Cindy, you got it all. Any questions for Cindy?
I'd just like to say, I hope we find our American friends find it easier to come up to Canada than Canadians have been recently going to the States. So we encourage, and the Canadian dollar is, of course, to your benefit. So it will actually cost you less to come to a meeting in Canada.
Yeah, the American dollar goes really far these days, so it's definitely a deal.
So thank you. And yeah, if there's questions, people can always email me, and we'll be sending out, like I said, contact information fairly soon.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it. I'm excited, very excited. So hopefully everybody can join us. And then let's see if I can make the, okay. Someone asked me as well to give an update regarding the bird banding lab. So the other day I had the privilege of talking with Tony from the banding lab, and got an update in person. But I also have heard through other channels the same thing. So it's really nice to hear. So regarding the bird banding lab, the original budget proposed cuts the department in the ecosystems mission area would have been given $29 million. And from talking to Tony, that would have been enough to pay people to shut down their computers, empty the buildings, lock the doors, and that would have been it. So I think they have 13 or 16, I can't remember the exact number, but that literally would have been just enough money to pay people to shut the doors. Since then, much of the budget shortfall has been recovered. The proposed budget is now going to be close to previous years. It's going to be $289 million. That's what Congress has proposed, which is about 6% less than last year. So it's not as good as last year, especially with inflation, but it's better than $29 million. So currently, the sort of situation as it been at the banding lab will continue. Bands will continue to be given out, questions answered, the website maintained, databases maintained, which when I heard allowed me to have take a deep breath, which I hadn't been able to take for quite some time. And the thing with this budget is that it still needs to be passed. And so until the budget is actually passed by Congress, any of this could change. But this is currently what people are fighting for. And I think a lot of the support that allowed us to get the money back to this level was hunters. And that's a big voting block that nobody really wants to make angry, because they are a big voting block and they want to be able to hunt the ducks. So there their lobbying helped a lot to keep the banding lab going. So at the banding lab, like I said, they will have money, but their staffing issues are still a problem. They are down 4 people compared to last year. So they are working as they always have, understaffed, and it's just been worse than usual. They also are in a hiring freeze right now, so they can't hire anyone. So this decline in staffing, they're just going to be short-staffed for quite some time. I think that's the only things I had to say about this. Does anyone have any questions about this that I might be able to answer?
Danny, I have a question. So if Congress doesn't pass the budget and they do a continuing resolution, how does that affect things? Does that mean that Trump's budget could be put into place?
It's regardless, Congress still needs to vote and pass the budget. It might be sitting where people don't get paid and all the feds get sent home.
Right.
That's kind of what has happened in the past, so that's possible. Sometimes they pass a continuing resolution to say, oh, the federal employees will be continue to be paid. But until like there's an actual stamp on it, things can change. So
Okay.
yeah, they're not likely to choose the original budget. There were too many things that would make too many people angry in that. So if things continue, it's likely that it just won't be passed for a while and it could get shaved a little bit, but it should be somewhat similar to what it is now.
So it can't just turn Trump loose to do whatever he wants?
Well, currently no, but give things a little while and who knows what can be turned on its head. Currently it can't, but like I said, depending on what the Supreme Court says about certain things and how laws have to be passed, then it could be, topsy-turvy, but things still have to go
Okay.
we still have to go a little further down that road before things go really upside down.
Okay.
Yeah. I have learned a lot about the US government, though, in the last couple weeks. It's been very educational to figure out how budgets work. So Google can be your friend, too. Any other questions on this one? Okay, I'm moving on then. So some exciting news. This is not Weba's new logo. This is Weba's old logo. It has been, I don't know when this new logo was instituted, but Weba was founded in 1925. I don't think this logo has been around since then. It looks like maybe something that came in the 60s with this current logo. It is a lovely logo, but if you can see on your screen, it's somewhat fuzzy. It's fuzzy because we've lost the original artwork. Don't know where that is. It's probably stuck in a file somewhere that we don't know. So it's fuzzy. In terms of logos, it's really too detailed. If you think about logos are sharp images that don't have too much detail that bring, thought about the organization right up to the front of your mind. So over the past 6 months or so, we've realized that this logo isn't doing what we need it to do. It doesn't reproduce well. It's too detailed, that sort of thing. So we have put it out there to start working on a new logo. We have not got the logo finalized, but I will show you where it sits currently. It is meet our new Western Tanager. So this is what the logo is currently sitting at. It will have some modifications. For example, we've asked that the red comes further out on the head. This bar is turned white. We've asked for 25 on the band for 1925. So we'll see how that goes. But this is basically what our logo will look like. So does anyone have any questions about the logo at this point in time? I think he needs a name. Go ahead.
Oh, Danny, I was just gonna say, the other logo was very, square or round, and this,
Mhm.
like, just the way that the bird has been illustrated here, it's a much longer logo, and I'm wondering if that is gonna have any issues in terms of functionality for the logo. Obviously it's gonna be fine in lots of places, but like the, you know, like I don't think we would have the text just kind of, you know, this sort of looks more like a poster. Like we wouldn't have the text just in the corner kind of like that. I think we would have it sort of work in. We've talked about different ways to do that a little bit, but
Right. So when you have a logo, like I'm thinking of the Institute for Bird Populations logo. It has a couple variations. It has one where it's just the image, another one where it has the image and just the letters like IBP. So this could be WBBA. And then we have another one where the full name is written out. Because of that, it can have different shapes and sizes depending on where the wording is, whether you want it to be a long, skinny thing, a more square thing, or a more up and down thing. So another thing that we're thinking of is having just a face shot at times. I'm leery of just a face shot because if you think about a logo, the logos generally don't change that much. So the image stays the same and then the things around them might change, but so yes, this is a little bit longer than usual, but I think there's ways of putting the wording in to make it more square and things like that, depending on the its function and its purpose for a thing. The big thing is we wanted to make sure that when someone sees that, they think of WBBA. Does that answer your questions?
yeah.
Danny, I think another thing would be that that rectangular outline won't necessarily always be used because sometimes, like you said, it'll just be the logo. It'll be the logo and the text, so that will look a little bit more offset. It won't have that same rectangular look all the time necessarily, depending how it's being used, I would think.
You're correct. Yes. So I put it on white because that's how I have it now. But yes, having a lot of times we have ones with an invisible background. And if that's the case, like if I would have it with an invisible background, I would also use writing that's yellow instead of black, so it would pop on a background like this. So we have options depending on what the background is as well. Anyone have an idea for Webster's new name? Webster. I don't know. Wesley. I don't know. Think about it. Okay, so that's the logo. Any other questions? Okay.
How about Westley? Because
Oh, Wesley.
bird band.
Oh, I like it.
Tanner.
I didn't hear that last part.
Tanner.
Ah, Tanner's good. Nice. Keep thinking. Might introduce him, in a social media post when we have the final one, and he might have come with a name. We'll see how it goes. So last thing we wanted to bring up was, do any of the members, board members or general members have any questions that they want to bring up or any business they want to bring up?
Maybe Danny, while people are thinking, we didn't really talk about the grant, the annual grant. I don't know if you wanted to say a word or two about that.
I very briefly mentioned it in the finances. I was hoping that Adam would join with us, so I did punt a little bit on that. We do have an annual grant that we can give that's up to $1,000, and I believe we can give up to two $1,000 grants. I don't think our budget can handle two $1,000 grants at this point in time, so our plan is to do one $1,000 grant. And I was hoping Adam was going to be on here because he would know how many applications we've had for that. We have been able to give out the grants in the past for about $1,000 to some very interesting programs, and we probably should have the people who we've given the grants to do some sort of webinar for us. So that's something I'm putting on my list. Because it would be nice to know how those grants were spent and where the projects are that they were spent on have gone. Okay. Did anyone have any questions about the grants? Okay. Any new business from anybody? Okay.
I guess speaking of webinars, I anticipate we'll try to run something again this winter.
I think it would be a nice idea. So, to do some, we should talk about that. I'm thinking it's August now. It's almost September. So the earliest we would be able to do webinars would be October. For you guys who are not on the board, we talk about this sort of thing all the time, but from just the general members, if we have webinars, is it nice to do them once a month, once every 2 weeks? What is the frequency that you guys would like those to come in? Daily? You guys are quiet. This is what I'm finding. You can use the chat if you prefer to chat it that way. Okay. Oh, I see something in the chat. And Jody likes once a month. Okay. I kind of like that. It's nice for people's schedules when it's not too crazy. Okay, let's see, someone else had a chat. Once a month from Janet as well. Okay, that makes it a little easier to handle. So if you guys have ideas of talks you would like to hear, if you can send us an email or put in the chat now, if there's something of interest that you want to hear about, we'd be happy to tackle new topics. So maybe starting in October, maybe one in October, one in November. I think December we could skip, but January and February. Just writing down here. It's just nice to keep things going and chatting, you know, when in the wintertime when none of us can get out and band. Okay. Anything else people would like to talk about? Anyone would like to talk about more about the webinars? Okay, any other business?
I mean, I just think personally, I think they're a good way to connect with people, and yeah, it's always a struggle to sometimes find speakers and set it up. I know you've struggled with that, and we were trying different ways, but you know, I mean, personally, I find I join other webinars when I can, or watch the recording later, which is also something that you've offered. WIB has offered for those webinars. So I think we'd like to kind of beef it up a little bit and keep them running.
I agree. It's something I do like that we offer. Okay, well then I'm going to move on. So our next meeting is September 18th. So now these are our board meetings. There is the membership is welcome to attend these. They can't vote if we have voting items, but they're welcome to attend. Usually they're on the third Thursday at 1 p.m., which makes them, I know not everybody can attend them. Would you as general members like to be notified of these to join into them, or is that something you're not so interested in? And for the rest of the board members, if you want to put this on your calendar. Okay, well, our next board meeting will be on September 18th, and I think that's it. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate the input that you've all had and for sharing where we are. We'll also post this meeting so people can see what we discussed and if they have anything else, they can reach out to us via email. But that's all I have for now. So thanks everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll be able to see each other in person next fall in Edmonton. That would be great.
Thanks, Danny.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.